While partnering with brands is not the only way to monetize as a creator, it's often one that most creators will fall back on to help them create that full-time income. But if you've attempted partnering with brands on Instagram, you know that it can be a struggle. Pitching and never hearing back, having to find brands to work with, and fighting for fair rates. It's just not as easy as you think. But today we're giving you the tips on how to collaborate with all of your favorite brands as a creator. Let's dive right into it. Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristen and I'm a creator monetization coach at Your Social Mate, where we help creators and influencers turn their online influence and creativity into a profitable, self-sustaining business. I also host Social Scoop podcast, where every Tuesday we give you the scoop on what it's like to be a creator and how to be successful. Don't forget that we interviewed Isabella Lamson, who is the social partnerships lead at Contra, all about how to get more gigs as a freelance creator. You can listen to that episode everywhere that you listen to your favorite podcasts. Don't forget that down below we have timestamps so you can skip around and find exactly what you're looking for in this video. What I'm going to be teaching you today is what we as Social Mate like to call the anti-pitch method. In recent months, I noticed that pitches are really just starting to be ignored by brands, mostly because they all look exactly the same and say exactly the same thing. Brands are getting bored and they're really feeling like this is just inauthentic. It's not very exciting to them. So the formula that we used to use in our cold pitch emails as creators is simply not worth the time anymore. Frankly, your copy and paste pitch email that you're sending to every brand that you want to work with is overplayed and it's probably not doing you any favors. Before we dive into it, I'll say one thing. You are still more than welcome to try sending your cold pitch emails to brands, but I think this is a really great place to start instead. If the anti-pitch method doesn't work for a specific brand, then you can fall back onto your cold pitch or your emails or your DMs that you're sending to brands. But I typically would recommend starting with this method first and seeing where it gets you. So what is the anti-pitch method? The anti-pitch method is a strategy that we created to help creators build more genuine, authentic relationships with the brands that they really want to work with. This is a great way to get your foot in the door and get a brand collaboration started in a really authentic way. The first part of the anti-pitch method is finding the brands you want to work with. At the end of the day, you can send a brand pitch to any brand that you want, but the more authentic and targeted towards your audience it is, the more your audience is going to have a better response. And a better response from your audience really does equal a great partnership with that brand, and it means that they're probably going to want to keep working with you. So finding the right brands to work with is actually a huge part of building relationships with these brands. If you're wasting your time building relationships with brands that your audience doesn't care about, you're not doing yourself any favors. When searching for brands to work with, there are a few places that I like to look. First things first, look at the advertisements that are actually getting served to you. Go on your Pinterest, your Instagram, your TikTok, wherever, and look at the ads that you're actually receiving as a user. Chances are, if the ads are being targeted towards you, if your audience is similar to you, those brands may also want access to your audience. The second thing that I like to look at is the brands that are really making waves in my industry. As someone who talks a lot about social media, I love to look for new companies that are just making huge moves in this industry, especially if they're new and a lot of people are talking about them. This usually means that they're in a stage where they're really trying to get the word out about their brand, and if it's something that I'm really interested in and I know my audience will be as well, we're probably going to be a great match. And this is actually a really great position for you to be in when you start working with companies when they're just getting their feet off the ground. They're going to really be working closely with you, and you're going to be able to build even stronger relationships with the people at these companies. Imagine a company that's just getting started out and you get to actually talk with the CEO and brainstorm with them. That's a great position to be in because now the person who owns this company knows you. Lastly, I suggest looking at brands who you're using in your everyday life. Think about who your audience is. What are the problems that they're having in their everyday life like you are, and you have the products that may actually solve those problems. For example, me as someone who speaks to creators, I know the problems that you guys are going through. So there are a lot of companies that I use going through the same problems that I can recommend to you because I know that they'll actually be very helpful for you. Those are the brands that will be great to create relationships with because you're likely going to have a great return because your audience will be interested in them, and so the brand is going to want to work with you time and time again. Now, after you've found the brands that you want to work with, it's time to warm up the brand. You guys have seen me talk about this in recent videos, but it's something that I like to talk about time and time again because it's truly the most important part of building a relationship with a brand in the anti-pitch method. The first and most obvious thing that you need to do here is start to follow the brand. If you're not following the a company on social media, do you really think that they're going to want to pay you thousands and thousands of dollars? It just doesn't feel like you're an authentic, loyal follower if you can't just tap the follow button. I also think it's really important for you to start to interact with those brands on social media. Set post notifications, add them to your favorite list, whatever you have to do to consistently go back to their page and interact with their content. You want them to see your name time and time again, popping up in their newsfeed and popping up in their DMs without being annoying. A huge part of the anti-pitch method is to actually build relationships with the people who work at these businesses, not just the brand on social media. One thing that I really like to do here is find the people who work at these companies on social media platforms like LinkedIn or Twitter. Typically, I'll go onto LinkedIn and I'll type in the brand that I'm interested in working with. You'll be able to see a list of people that work at that company, and I typically will look for the person who is in influencer marketing, social media, or any type of marketing in general, and those are the people that I want to start building relationships with. I usually like to connect with them and then start to keep up with the things that they're posting, interact with them a little bit, again, get them familiar with my name. I just want them to know that I exist. After you've done this warming up process for a couple weeks, it's time to actually introduce yourself formally. Typically, I'll do this on LinkedIn or Twitter, wherever I've been keeping up with the people at these brands, and I'll send them a message, and if there's anything relevant that the brand has done or posted about recently, I make sure to mention that in my message so that they know that I'm paying attention. My message might say something like, "Hey, name, I've been keeping up with brand and I saw that you just launched product. I'd really love to hear more about this. Do you have time to get on a 15-minute call with me in the next few weeks?" And I always love to try and bring these conversations onto the phone or onto video calls, because then again, I can really start to build genuine relationships with these people. You can build a relationship so much stronger over a video or a phone call than you can over email. So how can the anti-pitch method actually land you deals? Because what I've said so far probably just seems like a lot of interaction and not a lot of actual money making, right? Now, some may find the anti-pitch method frustrating, I'll be honest, because it's not instant gratification, but if you've been in this industry long enough, you know that most things are not instant gratification. Most pitches that you send out are not instantly going to land you a brand deal, because there's so many moving parts that need to line up. You need to be the right creator with the right brand at the right campaign at the right time, and it's very, very difficult to line all of those things up. That's why cold pitches typically don't end up getting you anywhere. The whole idea of the anti-pitch method is that if you can build these relationships with the people and with the brands, when there is a campaign that you're the perfect person for, you're gonna be top of mind. The people are gonna know you exist and say, "Hey, we should reach out to you." Overall, it's a great way to get your foot in the door, start to build these relationships, hopefully be top of mind when a campaign comes up, and be someone that the brand is tapping into to work with time and time again. Mostly because they know you are genuinely interested in what they're doing based on all the support and loyalty you've shown them through the whole warming up process. Overall, there are people who make up all of the brands that you love and want to work with. They want to be respected, seen, and connected with just like your followers do on your social profiles. So why are we treating them any differently? This is why the anti-pitch method is so high success and has been what I've used pretty much the entire year of 2022 to land brand campaigns. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you can get alerted every single time we post a new video for you. Again, don't forget that we interviewed Isabella Lamson, who is the social partnerships lead at Contra, all about being a successful freelance creator. You can listen to this episode of Social Scoop Podcast anywhere you love to listen to all of your podcasts. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.